Hi, and welcome back to Danielle's Desk. Today we're going to do a wellness cortisol reset. So I am going to have linked below the very last wellness video that I had on my channel, which was about 10 months ago. I retired my wellness planner beginning of this year, I think, when I decided to stop tracking macros, stop tracking my food, and I do intuitive eating. And I have been able to somewhat maintain my weight and my overall health pretty well. Just to give you a little bit of background on me, I have systemic lupus. I have been having lupus for over a decade, which I have attempted to do, make a lot of changes within my life and things like that in order for me to essentially live. If that, just to sum it up, I want to live as long as the Lord will allow me to live. But what I have noticed, especially this year in 2025 with my health, is that I am in perimenopause. I'm in active perimenopause, and it sucks. I'm going to be 45 years old. I have grown children. I have a grandson. So it's time. It's time. And I have noticed myself being more tired. I have noticed that, not necessarily my weight, I'm gaining weight, I'm gaining muscle. I think that I have probably put on 5 to 7 pounds of muscle, which is good. That's a good thing. I'm just not used to seeing that on myself. But it is getting more and more difficult for me to get through the day. And just recently, I'm going to say in the past 3 to 4 weeks, it has been even more difficult. So I felt like something else was going on with me besides menopause. Okay. And I have all the symptoms of menopause that you can think of. You can check it off. I have it all. And so this book right here, all pink tabbed up, showed up in my Facebook because, you know, social media listens to everything that we say. And I went to Amazon and I kind of looked through it, read the bio, went to Goodreads, kind of read that, then read reviews. Almost every single review, was amazing. This particular author writes several different books on different topics to help you. And so I ordered it, and it came in, and I think maybe the second or third day I started like really reading it, and then I inhaled however many pages, almost 200 pages on Sunday, I believe it is. And I started tabbing and highlighting and all the things. And after reading this book, I felt so empowered because I actually had definitions to what was going on with me. And that made me feel so encouraged. And so I kind of asked over on Instagram, you know, would y'all like to have like a video, and then sort of like, what am I doing in regards to tracking this wellness, that type of thing. And I received several messages. We are reintroducing a wellness journal here on the channel, but it looks a lot different than it did before. Before, like I said, I was tracking macros, what I eat, exercising, and everything. And now we're going to be tracking how I feel on the inside, to be honest with you. Just to give you also a little bit of summary, I lift heavy weights 5 times a week. And I rest one day and do active recovery. So I am extremely active. I'm also a runner as well, but it is way too hot here in Texas, so there's no running right now. There will probably not be any running until November. So we're going to go through a few things in this book, but my little thing is getting so thick, y'all. I have two, and I've shown these here on the channel, but they all fit in inside my Oristel. I introduced this one. I've already put a nice little pretty cover on here from Phelps. She has the best covers, y'all, the best covers. I introduced this as a potential lineup for me for 2026. And so this is going to be the new wellness planner. I knew I wanted something that could fit inside of my Aura Estelle, and that gave it to me. And so we're going to be trying it out to see if this is going to be a good wellness planner for me. So before we actually get into the layout, there's a few things that I do want to touch on it. And I want to say this also, that this book, first of all, I love the big font. Let me grab my glasses. I absolutely love the big font, and I love that she presents this in layman's terms, in terms that I can understand. So let me define what cortisol is exactly, and that it's not bad. I mean, essentially, people feel like that cortisol is bad, and it's just not. It's here it talks about on the first page, it says if there's one hormone that quietly runs the show in your body, from your energy levels to your craving to your belly fat, it's cortisol. It says, but cortisol is more than a stress hormone. It's a survival tool, a rhythm keeper, and a key player in your body's entire hormonal symphony. And it goes on to talk about, like I said, that cortisol is not bad. It's the amount and duration that it makes to make a difference. And then it goes on to talk about when your cortisol is high, when it's fluctuating, and then when it's low. And what I have found out is that mine is a combination. So cortisol is supposed to be high during the day, and then it's supposed to be low at night. And so the reason why that I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because my cortisol is kicking in and it's not supposed to. And so essentially what this book does is just give you various tools on helping with different areas. And I'm not going through all of this. They have some really good information about blood sugar and insulin and just thyroid and just a lot of things that I highlighted. But I do want to go to this section here, where it talks about how we're supposed to calm our morning cortisol. And so, and this is kind of how I sectioned things off. So I started off with my mornings, and they give you different tools and tips and things like that on how to, actually, I'm gonna go into this one on how to kind of reset things. I made some notes, and I think I put them in this planner. I did. Here we are. So this I made like a cortisol checklist before I actually put things inside of this planner. So I broke it up, my mornings, because this is essentially where it starts. And I have a really good routine, like morning routine, evening routine, that I am pretty proud of. And I'm still proud of, even after reading this book. It was just a few things that I actually just, maybe one thing that I needed to tweak specifically in the morning. So when Danielle gets up in the morning, which is at 5 a.m. to work out, I literally jump out of bed, half sleep, and start putting on my clothes. I'm like stumbling everywhere. I'm going to the bathroom. Like it's not good. Okay. I don't even give myself time to wake up. Now, when I get up, I do drink lemon water. That's one of the first things. So once I get dressed, I grab my water with lemons, which is already on the side of my bed, and I'm starting to drink that like on the way downstairs to go to my gym. So that is a no-no. Like, I am not giving myself any type of like calming cortisol 2 minutes. Like, I'm not even giving myself that. So I started incorporating that this week, and I have 5 minutes of stillness. And that's what I call it. 5 minutes of stillness is actually right here. I highlighted that one. And it says you don't need to meditate for an hour, but 5 intentional minutes of deep breathing. You can journal, you can pray, you can have silence, whatever it is. And so what I do within this 5 minutes in my morning, and I literally just sit up on the side of my bed, hang my feet over on the side of the bed, and I just take 5 good deep breaths in the morning, and just to get myself up, to get my blood flowing, those types of things. Just not immediately like just jump from sleep to awake. I'm giving myself 5 minutes. So I've been kind of doing this at actually 4:50 in the morning. I know it's really, really early, but I've been doing this at 4:50, and it's been good. I'm only on day 2, but it's been really, really good. And so, also, I said the deep breathing. So I go and I work out. I fix my breakfast. So I am not a person that eat breakfast really early in the morning. Actually, I eat 3.5 hours later. I don't eat until I get to work. I prepare my food. I cook my food, which is an egg white scramble. I eat really healthy. What I want in the morning after my workout, like, because I'm drinking water throughout my workout, I drink my water, is my coffee. And that is a no-no. That can increase your cortisol, but that's something I'm going to have to work on, because I really enjoy and I look forward to my coffees in the morning. And then typically, my prayer is right after my workout before I fix breakfast. So I spend my time with the Lord, and all those things in the morning. So that kind of consists of a big chunk of my morning, besides me going to take a shower, getting dressed, and all those things, and then out the door. So this is one thing that I did incorporate to try to lower my cortisol, is having a calming morning routine. And so on the weekends, the only difference with this, which Sundays are a rest day, I do lift on Saturdays, but the natural light, and this is something that I do anyway. So I enjoy opening up my windows here in my home. It just makes me happy. It makes me smile. I don't know. Even if it's storming outside, it doesn't matter. I want to open up my windows, and I really don't get to do that during the week because I'm out the door. No one's home. But on the weekends, natural light. It even says something about like going outside for a walk or things like that. And that may be something that I'll do. Even if it's just walking out my front door and just breathing in the fresh air, if it's not raining or anything like that, and then coming back inside will do you some good in the morning. So those are kind of my morning and weekday things that I have incorporated to try to bring my cortisol levels down, because they are high. I'm waking up. Now, evenings. So my evening routine, did I have evening? Here it is. There it is. So evening. So it says light fireplace. And you're probably thinking, Danielle, I thought you said you live in hot Texas. I do live in hot Texas. But my husband, I think it was for Valentine's Day, he bought me this electric fireplace that has all these holographic, like the flames are all different colors, and it can put out heat if you want to, but I don't ever do it. It's right above my bed. It is the most elegant and most beautiful thing you want to look at, and I turn it on every night, every single night. Even though I wear a mask at night, I turn it on. So to set that atmosphere for a sleep ready evening ritual, it talks about dimming your lights. Well, our lights are already off in our bedroom. We just keep the bathroom light on so you can see your way to the bathroom, but I want to light my fireplace. So I light my fireplace. I use magnesium wood, pure magnesium, and we'll talk about supplements in a minute. I use magnesium on my feet. I set a goal for myself to be asleep at 9:30. I'm struggling with that. For the past 2 days, I have not. I'm typically downstairs reading or whatnot, typically reading in my recliner. And here I would like to, make my way upstairs at 8:30, do a wind down for about an hour. No sale when going upstairs, which I typically don't. I'm typically bringing a book upstairs. Eye mask, I wear a vibrating eye mask that I absolutely love. I know it's crazy, but it's the best thing ever. And in perimenopause, so of course we have fans, but even before then, we always slept with fans, so we like that noise, and then of course the air and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And why you're like, Danielle, why are you going through all of this? Well, the book talks about, it says one of the most powerful things you can do is regulate your cortisol level. Doesn't happen in the gym or the kitchen. It happens at night. It says in the hour before you sleep. It says this window is often overlooked or rushed. You clean up, you do all these things. But it says, but a stressed, overstimulated nervous system doesn't transition to rest just because the clock says it's time. And I feel like that even though I'm really not doing a lot, because I do my evening routine pretty early, which is cleaning like the kitchen and all that pretty early, I don't want to be overstimulated. And so I want to set the atmosphere for my bedtime. And so that's kind of what I came up with. And then on weekends, it's typically the same thing, other than I don't have a strict bedtime. I like that freedom. I look forward to that freedom. That's the only difference in that. So, and then it gives some other things about, like, I used to drink tea before bed. I cut tea out. I no longer drink tea, but I used to religiously. Chamomile, it mentioned chamomile, and like lemon balm is really good at night and things like that. Turning off your screens are really important. Journaling, things like that. So I thought that was really, really good. And then, let's see. This part talks about the eating. And so, my eating is pretty good. I meal prep every Sunday. I meal prep my food. I eat the exact same thing every day. My issue is night snacking. So when I make my way upstairs, whenever that time is, I don't know why I want a snack. I want a snack. I want a savory snack and I want a sweet snack. And I don't know why, because I'm not like that anytime throughout the day, only at night when I get in bed. And having that, even though their nuts is typically what I snack on, or dates, it still contains sugar. Dates still contain sugar. So it's like, I don't need that right before bed, so that's some things that I've been struggling with. I even put chewing gum and spitting it out. I haven't tried that. I don't know. But that's one thing that I'm struggling, and also researching more healthy snacks, because I'm kind of reduced to, I eat a lot of nuts and a lot of dates. That's what I like. But it talks about prioritizing your protein. Because I meal prep and because I eat the same thing every day, I don't really have an issue with eating like bad things, because my stuff is already prepped. I haven't had issue with this in years. So this for me is pretty easy, other than the night snacking. So if you have any helpful tips in regards to that, please let me know. Let's talk about supplements. So they list several supplements here in the chapter, which I currently, as far as supplements is concerned, I use the magnesium, which I talk about. Y'all got to use magnesium. You rub it on the bottoms of your feet. I don't have a problem with going to sleep. It's staying asleep. That's why, but it doesn't seem to be working with me staying asleep, but it's because my cortisol is up. Ashwagandha, it talks about that, and I have used that before by Goli. It's supposed to be a calmer, but it also is supposed to support your cortisol. It just says that you have to be careful on where you get it from. I forgot where it talks about that at, but it talks about making sure that you look at the ingredients and things like that, which I always do anyway. I take a multivitamin, a women's multivitamin, which is organic. I take a probiotic in the morning that's for bloating. And I take a urinary vaginal one, probiotic, in the afternoon. This one is fairly new because I was experiencing UTIs. And I already have bladder issues anyway. And the UTI was a result of perimenopause. Can you believe it? So she started me on some estrogen cream, which I do twice a week, and also a probiotic. And I have seen a good difference in it. So, but it talks about supplements. So I was already doing supplements for the, for the most part. So it wasn't nothing else that I needed to incorporate. And then we talk about sleep. And I have the Oura ring, which has been, oh my goodness, I can't rave about the Oura ring. The Oura ring is not good for tracking like your steps or exercise, but it is wonderful for sleep. And so I look at that data on a continuous basis. Other than the sleep mask, me setting the atmosphere and putting the magnesium on my feet, that's everything that I do in regards to sleep. But it has a whole chapter in talking about sleep and talking about eating and things like that, waking up at 3 a.m., all that. It has a chapter on that. And then it has exercise, and if you miss the first part, this is my exercise routine. This is what I do. I love lifting weights. It makes me happy. I love running. So, but these are the notes that I made. And so for the, I had to look at it, 60-day challenge, this is kind of how it looks, where you start off slow. So it'll let you know that this is not a marathon. Like, you are not in it to like, oh, I got to do everything. Like, it starts off with cortisol safe wake up, like trying to plan your habits and things like that, like drinking water, getting up, like doing the 5-minute just kind of quiet time and things like that. So that's kind of how week 1 starts for you, and it gives you really, really good examples on that. And so this is kind of where I've been at, kind of focusing on more of the 5 minutes of stillness. And that's something extremely small, but it can make a world, like a world of difference, doing that. And so that is essentially the 60-day detox. There is a lot of great information. I am going to have the link for this book in case you are interested in this. But I wanted to show you how I am setting up, or how I've set up my wellness notebook. Now, I set up the first week, the the setup might change, but this is how I've set things up. I'm going to, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put my name and everything here. We just use these name scripts because we set up, what did we set up? We set up something. Oh, we set up my other Papertess. So while we're here, we're going to go ahead and put our name here. So that kind of what makes it like official, right? And then should I put 2025 or just leave it there? I'll just leave it there. I was trying to use up those 2025 stickers, but we'll leave it there. So this is an undated planner if you saw my last video, but I'm going to use this. So I don't track my weight, but the book encourages you, at least in this 60 days, to kind of keep track of your weight, which is kind of irritating to me because I was so proud of the fact that I didn't have to weigh, and so I'm going back to weighing if I'm going to really complete the 60-day detox. So I'm clocking in at 140 on the nose. I clocked in at 140 on the 30th and again on the 1st, which is where I've been hovering. I've been hovering between 137 and 140, which this has been the highest weight I've ever been. I'm normally in the 130 range, like lower 130. But since I have been heavy lifting, this is where I've been. And I feel like this is where my body wants me. I don't know why. It's just a number, and it's about the way that I look. And so I'm still in a size 4 and 6. Isn't that funny how you can gain? That's how I know it's muscle, because I'm still in the same size clothes. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do with the monthly. Is I'm going to be tracking my weight for the next 60 days, or for the next 2 months. I did add sterling ink. These are those monthlies. They come in a little envelope here. You can get them. They're like $20 and you get 2 months. So these are just some leftovers that I had for when I did my sterling ink. So I just popped this in here. I'm not trying to spend any additional money, you know, on these planners. That's why there's no date dots. I used my own handwriting and things like that. So that's the monthly. So I just started it in July. And here is where, I started tracking. So these dates are from Sterling Ink. I got pages of them that I got last year before off Macari. So I whipped those out and started, you know, using those. But I did this into 6 quadrants. And I did, based on the notes that I had in here that we just went over, I did morning, evening, exercise, food, supplements, and sleep. And then I just kind of did a little note section here at the bottom. So this is essentially for me to check off, you know, was I able to hit all these points? I don't know if I'm going to keep the same format, but this is just kind of what I came up with. So the same thing that we went over is the same thing that I just put an X if I don't meet it, you know, that type of thing. I'll put a note, like I say, it's a good day, a lot more energy day. And this was a true statement. And the reason why is because the day before I read the book and I felt so encouraged. So I felt good. I felt really good. I had a really good workout, a really good leg day. And so it was just a good day. Now, this is today. Today's the 1st. I need to write everything in this portion, and I went ahead and did until Sunday. And then we'll see how this format works for me. And if I don't like it, I could always change it up, because guess what? It's just nothing but grid paper. That's it. But I mean, so far, this is what I've come up with. These are the habits and the rituals and things like that I want to incorporate. I have incorporated a lot of this stuff. I'm already doing. It was quite easy for me. It was just, I need to change a few things to try to get my cortisol level back on track. It can be done. This can be done. And I really want to put forth the effort and the time to make this happen. So what essentially I would like to do a 30-day. So I started this on June 30th, and I would like sometime in the first week of August, so that I would have had the done the cortisol reset for 30 days. I would like to come on here and just do a check-in, us going through everything, me even kind of doing a summary, like a monthly summary in here, to try to say like, how am I feeling? Are these habits and things working for me? Let's take a look at my weight, even though they want us to track weight. Let's take a look at our weight. Things like that. That's what I would like to do here. And if that's something that you would like to continuously see here on the channel, leave a comment, please. I really value your feedback. And then when we're done with this 60, it probably will turn into perimenopause wellness. I'm going to be honest with you, because that is the stage of life that I am in, where, I am trying to manage symptoms without medication, because I will not get on anybody's medication. I just won't. So anyway, that is my wellness planner. That is what I have been up to, and all the things. And I I'm loving it. I really am. I'm loving it. Leave your comments, feedback, everything down below. And thank you so much for joining me here at Danielle's Desk. If you enjoyed looking at my wellness planner and discussing the cortisol reset, please give the video a thumbs up. If you would like to see more content like this, consider subscribing. And I hope that you have an awesome day. Bye.